Welcome back. I'm Deji Kufarici, and this is Daniel Kufarici, and this is MMA in the Basement. Now, it's been a while.
Yeah.
We kind of missed the last quarter of last year.
Yeah.
We've been busy. You got engaged, so that's pretty cool.
Yes, I did.
Have you set a date yet?
I have. It's October 7th of this year, which is going to be pretty cool, so I'm excited.
Nice. How about the bachelor party?
Yeah, that hasn't been discussed yet, but definitely going to have that.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. So let's just jump into it. I just want to give you a little backstory. Matt and I did a podcast last week. It hasn't come out yet, so that'll be part 2 to this. We talked about last year. So we wanted to get a little bit of what you thought of last year. It seemed like it was a slow year until the Conor McGregor-Mayweather fight happened. Why do you think it was? Was it just bad luck? Was it that their stars didn't fight? What happened last year at the UFC?
I would say it probably was, due to bad luck was one of them. A lot of fights got canceled due to injury or what have you. But I also think it had to do with lack of stars.
Yes.
That's a big problem. I mean, they had Conor, they had John Jones, they had Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey, loses, then she leaves. She's out of action. John Jones gets, popped for steroids or whatever. He did. He's gone. Conor's off doing boxing. There was really no stars, so I think that's what the lack of fights, why there was not so much action or hype.
Yeah, so at the end of last year, it started picking up a bit. We had some really good cards towards the tail end, and now going into 2018, it seems like we have great cards.
Mm-hmm.
We had Ortega versus
Frankie
Edgar just happened, and we're gonna touch on that just a little bit. What do you think is the difference this year? Is it better cards? Are they making better cards, or is it just a new crop of talent that's really carrying this year through?
I think it's both. I think it's the new talent that's coming through, but I also think it's better cards are coming together, and not many injuries.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, if you have injuries to cards, fights aren't going to happen. But I think that is what's happening right now, where guys are being healthy, training smart, making it to the fight, and fights are happening. I mean, here and there are a couple fights that do drop out due to a lot of the weight cuts. Yes. Because now, the UFC has partnered to where they don't allow you, if you come in maybe, let's say, 10 pounds, a couple days before a fight, they usually don't let you fight, because they want to have fighter safety. So I'm thinking that could be one of the reasons why they may have had a couple fights canceled. But besides that, it's probably been due to both.
Coming into this year, what's really I've taken notice of is there are a lot of fouls and not any refs jumping in there and stopping it. We had the eye gouge, we had the illegal knee,
Right.
Emmett versus
Stevens.
Stevens, yeah. What's going on? Is it lack of training? Is it just too big of moments for these referees? What's happening?
I think it's the rule changes. If you remember, the rules have changed since last year, and remember, different states haven't adopted the new type of rules too.
Yes.
So because of that, I think it's misinformation going around. The referees tell the fighters before the fight, what the rules are for that state. But I mean, a fighter is in fight mode, so he could hear one thing and miss another thing, and I think that has been one of the biggest problems lately.
So that's just covering this year, which we just started this year. Let's just talk a little bit about the last fight that just happened.
Okay.
It was Volkoc versus Werdum.
Correct.
Tell the people why you thought Werdum did not have a chance in this one.
I wouldn't say he didn't have a chance. I mean, the guy's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, so I definitely think that he had more than a chance. But in my opinion, I picked Volkoc because he's 6'7", he's a big guy, hard puncher. I just thought Werdum would have trouble with the length and maybe getting him down and keeping him there. He did get him down, but keeping him there was a little bit of a struggle for him, just a little bit. And I just felt that Werdum has been knocked out by heavy punchers before. You remember Junior Dos Santos,
yes.
Knocked him out in his debut. You have to remember that he just got knocked out before this time. He got knocked out to the champ, Miocic.
Yes.
He knocked him off, take the belt. So I'm not gonna say he has a suspect chin, but when guys with power faces him and they connect, it's usually night for Werdum.
So Volkoc is not a household name, but he has been making strides since he left Bellator. Mm-hmm. He left Bellator on a 2-fight losing streak. He lost to Johnson and Czech Congo. Since then, M1 Global, M1 Challenge, he got a couple of victories. Dana brought him back, and he's been on a 4-fight win streak in the UFC. Does he have what it takes to beat the top guys?
I would say yes. I think he's growing up. He was also a champ in M1, so he has that under his belt, winning a title. And I think he's gonna have to mature. And he's gonna be facing these guys as he moves up. I think he's just gonna get stronger. I think he's gonna get smarter as a fighter, and I think he'll be dangerous in about a year or two. He'll be very.
He's still a young guy. What is he? 29 years old.
I'm not sure his age.
I think he's about 29. So
he's still a young guy.
Early 30s, late 20s. He's not long in the tooth like a lot of the heavyweight division. Now let's move on a little bit. Out of all the fights you saw, what stuck out to you on that London card? Anything that sticks out?
What stuck out to me was just something rare that you don't see happen too much. But there was 2 fights that got stopped in the 3rd round with like 4 minutes and 59 seconds left. That doesn't happen. 2 fights on the same card.
Was it originally Frankie Edgar had the last second, the record for the least amount of time left?
I think
versus Cub Swanson, right?
He did, but his was a 5-round fight, if I'm not mistaken. These were 2 3-round fights, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But also, Demetrius Johnson, I believe, broke the record because he also beat was it Horiguchi with like an armbar or something?
Yes.
In the last minute of the fight or last second, excuse me, and beat that record. So.
Peter Sobata versus Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards got that last second finish, and also we're looking at Mark Gabier versus Dmitry Sansanovsky. So that's crazy to see it both on one card. What really stuck out to me in this last fight was a young man by the name of Charles Berg. He was going against UFC debut, mind you. He was going against his John Phillips making his U.S. debut. He's part of the McGregor camp. He lives in a van by the sea. Kid was phenomenal. Quick, 1-round fight, but dominated from pillar to post. Took him down, got the submission. That's what really stood out to me. Anybody else on this card that might have stood out to you?
I thought Leon Edwards did a really good job. I really liked this fight a lot. And I believe he also called out Darren Till, didn't he?
He should have finished the fight in the first minute. It was a knockdown. He should have finished it. He decided to finish in the last second. Yeah. Do you think he has what it takes to take on a huge opponent like Till?
I think he does. I don't see why not. Is he ready for the limelight, though, that comes with, having the main event, being that person, all the interviews, who knows? We're going to have to see. But skill-wise, I think he's up there skill-wise, for sure.
Yeah, and looking forward, we know that UFC 223 is coming up. This is going to be a big card. It's going to be a huge card. We're going to talk about it a little bit more in depth in a couple of weeks. We're going to get down to it. But it's going to finally be Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. If it happens, if it doesn't fall through. Now it's the 3rd time they set this fight up. Do you see anything that's leaning towards any of these guys that are going to help them take this next fight in UFC 223?
I don't. At this point, we know all we know about both guys.
Yes.
There's no one's coming in with a secret. A secret weapon, as you may say. But I think the one thing that is going to be telling is Khabib's top game versus Tony's bottom game.
Yeah.
Because Tony's really good off his back with his jiu-jitsu, and we all know Khabib is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable with his top game. So we're going to see that in the fight. Guaranteed we're going to see it.
I just think that if Tony keeps it standing for as long as possible, he does have a good chin, and he does have some unorthodox strikes. and maybe that could wear out a Khabib Nurmagomedov. Also in that card, it's not the biggest name anymore, but Anthony Pettis is making his return versus Chiesa, which I think it's a pretty good matchup if you think about it. You know, he doesn't want to be a gatekeeper. That's what he says. But at the same time, he needs to work his way back up. And Chiesa is, in my opinion, right there, right at his level right now. Do you see any this fight going either way?
That one's a hard one to choose. Pettis, I don't know what's wrong with him right now. He's having troubles. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Whether it's weight cuts, whether it's his training or what. Maybe guys are just catching up to the style that he has. But he's having a little bit of trouble. And Chiesa, you know, Chiesa is Chiesa. You know, he has decent, okay stand-up, good ground game. I think the fight's going to be a really good fight, though. That fight should be pretty amazing. It might even steal fight of the night, to be honest with you. I know we have Ferguson versus Khabib on that card, but man, those two guys can bring it. They could bring some fireworks.
That's a huge card, and I think that the majority of UFC fans can't wait for that main event. What other main event are you excited about? That's not on that card, but that's coming up in the near future.
Well, I just want to say one thing about that card real quick. Was also Rose Namajunas versus...
Oh, how could we forget? How could we forget?
Versus the former champ, Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
The champ, right? Is that her name?
Champion. Yeah.
Champion.
So, you know, that fight's going to be an amazing fight, too. You know, Rose is saying she's going to go back out there and she's going to, you know, stop her again. You know, and Joanna's saying that it was all just luck.
And we will, and we're gonna tackle that because this fight's coming. I think it's about 3 weeks away. So we're gonna tackle.
April 7th.
We're gonna tackle that. So it's 2-3 weeks away. We're gonna tackle that card in the future. But right now, is there any other fights coming up that you could say that hey, maybe I really want to watch? It's not on that card, but maybe on a different card.
Another fight that there's back and forth going on right now between Ngannou and...
I'm going to jump into that. But fights that have already been made that might headline an event.
That might or
no, they will. That's going to headline an event.
Well, I'm looking forward to Darren Till coming back. That's number one. He doesn't have an opponent, but I am looking forward to him coming back.
Why is everybody ducking this man?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think they see his striking as a pretty dangerous game in that division. But I'm not saying anyone's really ducking him. I just feel that the guys at the top all want their title shot, and none of them are willing to step out of that to try to take a chance against someone else.
Do you think Colby Covington would be a good matchup for
him? Not for Colby.
Not for Colby.
Yeah. I mean,
so what I was trying to get to with the card that I'm really looking forward to, and I want to see Gaethje rebound. It's Gaethje versus Poirier.
Okay. Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't see Poirier having the stand up for Gaethje. But that doesn't mean he can't win. And do you think it's a little bit more evenly matched than I'm making it out to be?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, you have to say Poirier's chin is suspect. I mean, he's gotten rocked almost in every single fight he's ever done. But, you know, he's a talented guy. He's got decent submission skills. I think he loves, like, the Darce choke.
Yeah.
It's like one of his, like, it's his signature move. But he's going to have a problem with Gaethje, who just loves to swing, has power. You know, the guy has cardio. And then he also has a good wrestling game that no one really
can't stand and bang with this man.
No, of course not.
I don't think his chin is granite like a Gaethje's chin. All right, so this is a brand new segment we have on this show. It's going to be, will it happen, yay or no? Okay? So, you shed a little bit of light on it. It's Francis Ngannou. Is he going to fight the Black Beast this year? Yay or no?
Yay.
He will.
He will. Both guys want it. Both guys have asked for it. I don't see why it cannot happen this year.
Isn't Derek Brunson booked? Not Derek Brunson. Derek Lewis booked for a fight?
I don't believe he is.
He's not booked.
He just bought
Tibera.
Yeah, not even a month ago, right? So I'm pretty sure he has.
So do you think this is a good fight for Francis to return on, or should he have a fight before he fight Derek Brunson? Or Derek Lewis, I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I think this is actually a perfect fight for Francis to come back. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, what about him? It's just Lesnar if Lesnar comes back. But I think the problem with that is, come on, Lesnar's a wrestler. He's just going to take him down. We saw Ngannou doesn't have great takedown defense.
Yes.
Versus his matchup with Miocic. So I think this is a perfect match because I think Francis will stand and bang. We know that for sure.
Yes.
And the Black Beast will stand and bang. And we know that for sure.
All right. Will this happen?
Yes.
This will happen.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on. Will this happen?
Okay.
Will Nick Newell fight in the UFC?
This year?
And if you guys don't know who Nick Newell is, he is a professional fighter who hasn't stepped foot in the UFC yet. You might know him. He only has one hand. He has a disability. But he's only lost to one person, and that's Justin Gaethje. He's ready for the limelight. But do you think he's going to fight in the UFC? Yes or no?
Yes. I think he will fight in the UFC. I'm not sure when that might happen, depending on maybe the contract that he's with or the contract that he's in. But I think UFC seems to be open, especially to stars, other people have heard of.
Yes.
People have heard of Nick Newell.
Yes.
So I definitely think he'll fight in the UFC.
He took some time off after his last loss.
Correct.
Came back. He just had a dominant victory. I see him coming in, just like you said. The UFC likes people that have their own hype and pushing them, and he'll fit perfectly into the UFC 155 division, right? I just don't know if they're going to match him up correctly. I think you need to put him on a Fox Sports 1 event or something like that. So moving on. So you think this is going to happen? Yes, right. Do you think this is going to happen? It's a 4-parter. All right? Does GSP fight this year at all? Yes or no?
I'll say no.
Okay.
The reason I say that is because I don't know if he's still going over his illness or what's going on. I don't know if he's still trying to recover from that. I heard that he is getting better a little bit, actually, but you got to think it's going to take, let's say, 3 or 4 months for him to train to get back to fighting again. But then you got to add on him going back to 170 because he's not fighting at 185.
No.
So he's got to restructure his body to get back down to that and to keep it. So I think that's going to be just too much time to push him out, and also an opponent.
Yes.
So
Speaking of opponents, here we go. Will he fight Ben Askren? Yes or no? There's a lot of hype going on. Ben Askren is pushing for this fight. We already know the backstory between Ben and the UFC. They hate each other. But this guy is undefeated. He might be the best welterweight of all time that never fought in the UFC. Will this fight happen? Yes or no?
Are you saying this year, or are you saying is it ever going to happen?
Ever going to happen. I might have started this
I'm going to tell you
with this year, but I'm talking period.
I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to say the same thing that they said for the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. If the fans want it and people want it enough, it can happen.
Do you think the fans want this fight?
Yeah, of course. I think they do. Tons of fans know Askren for sure, and his dominant ways, and everyone knows GSP.
Yep.
So and I know everyone's wondering, you know what? Can Askren's wrestling what he's done to everyone else? Can he do that to GSP?
Yeah.
And me included, I want to know. I want to know, can he do that to GSP?
I think a lot of us want to know. All right, moving on. Will this happen? GSP versus Tyron Woodley. Yes or no?
Yes, that will happen. Because Tyron's the champ right now. I don't see anyone in the welterweight division that will defeat him right now. Just because, he just fought Wonder Boy twice. Okay, Wonder Boy. I don't want to say he's the gatekeeper where he's not letting anyone pass in.
Right.
But it kind of feels that way. Masvidal tried, he couldn't get past him. All these guys are going to try to get to Woodley, and it seems like you have to go through Wonder Boy first. So I'm kind of thinking no one's really going to give him too much trouble. In the welterweight division. So I think the next fight they may have to do for him, as long as he gets past Junior Dos Santos, I think they're going to try to put the GSP fight together.
Who gets past Junior Dos Santos?
Tyron Woodley.
Dos Anjos?
Dos Anjos.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. Whoa! All right, but no, you're absolutely right. And to bring up Ben Askren again, just like we talked about Nick Newell, when you bring your own stable of fans to the UFC, they want to sign you, and I think Ben Askren has done that. He could always play the heel. He could always fit into that role versus GSP, guy in the white hat. Lastly, GSP, and this question is sent to us through our Twitter from Clint Battersby. GSP versus Conor McGregor. Yes or no? Will this ever happen?
I'd say yes. It can happen. Like I said, the fans want it. That's
a new age. It's a new era.
Yeah, it's the money fight. That's in mixed martial arts. That's the money fight of money fights.
Yes.
I mean, the only problem that you're going to have with that fight is what weight, because they don't fight at the same weight.
No.
So that's going to be an issue. Money is going to be an issue, I think, also, because both guys are going to be asking for the max.
Yes.
And I think another trouble might be is before that fight happens, who are they facing in between?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? GSP, is there anybody in the UFC that's in the welterweight division that could beat GSP right now? Probably not. Let's just be honest. Okay. The guy is one of the most dominant, welterweights ever to ever be in the UFC. Conor McGregor, he's already lost. Is he going to fight Nate Diaz again for the third time? That's a possible loss for him. Is he going to fight the winner of Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson? That could be a loss for him. You never know. So I don't know if the fans will be clamoring for that fight if he loses to one of those two. Because then they're going to say, well, GSP would beat those guys. So why is,
So yay or no? What are you leaning? Everything's been yay so far. Is this a fight that will happen?
Yay.
Yeah. I think you might be right. I think you might be right. I personally don't see the point of this fight as I like competition. I like belts being put on the line. This is, like you said, is a money fight. And if the fans want to see it, the UFC is going to put it on. And that ends our segment. Yes or no. Thank you very much. So what fights need to happen this year? And who needs to get back into the cage this year? What fights are you looking forward to seeing?
I think a fight that needs to happen this year for sure is another Tyron Woodley fight.
Yes.
I think he needs to get back in the cage. I know he was a little bit hurt. I would say also we need to see DJ versus TJ. We need to see that fight.
What weight class?
Well, it's got to be 125. DJ is not going to move up to 135.
He's too small.
He's too short, too small. But also, he said, if I'm going to fight, it's going to be at 125. Yeah. I don't need to go up. So, and TJ says he can get down to 125, which shouldn't be a problem. So, I think that's a fight that needs to happen. It is a super fight. Personally, I thought it was a super fight before TJ won the title. He was a former champ. I thought it was a super fight, but now it's a legitimate super fight because they're both champions. So that fight definitely needs to happen this year.
I really think that it's Cyborg versus Nunes needs to happen. I think that's a huge fight. And I also think Cyborg versus Megan Anderson needs to happen. I'm leaning towards the Nunes. We know more about Nunes, and we know how dominant she is at the 135 weight class. So that's the fights that I really think that should happen this year. To close it out, we mentioned this a little bit earlier. Till does not have an opponent, right? What's scaring me about that is it feels of shades of 2017. Now they're just clamoring to put a fight card together. We mentioned a couple of opponents. What are you looking to see outside of Till on that card? Have they even put anything together on that card?
No, not really. I think it's just Till right now, and they're going to try to figure out. I personally would love to see Till versus Wonderboy. I think that would be a great fight.
Fight to see. I mean, the fights that we need to see this year, Till versus Wonderboy is definitely in the top five. But what I'm worried about is a repeat of last year. Are they gonna start throwing these really mediocre cards together because they don't have opponents and because people don't want to fight? The welterweight division is stacked right now, and we definitely need to see Till back in the octagon. Having said that, Thank you very much for tuning in.
But wait, I'm going to interrupt.
All right.
Because I have a question for you.
All
The
right.
question for you is, yes or no, will John Jones fight in 2018?
I'm going to say no.
And why do you say that?
Because in August, that's when he's able to apply for his license again. And I think is it USADA or the Nevada? Whichever one hasn't ruled yet, they got to put in their suspension. And I think he's going to get 2 years, and it's going to be retroactive. So I think 2019. Also, a fight that needs to happen is Brock Lesnar versus John Jones or Francis Ngannou. Both of those fights, I think, will be epic. I'd rather see him versus Francis. I know a lot of you Zuffa Zombies want to see him versus John Jones. To each their own. But having said that, thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Deji Kufarici. This is Daniel Kufarici, and this was MMA in the Basement.